Oh, yeah. Hello, 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 hello. Welcome. It is our very, very first episode of the new year 2024. I hope everybody is good and that it's treating you guys very well so far. Yeah. Hello, Coach Lundi. How are you in the new year?
Hello. Well, it's the new year. I'm good. I'm very good. Thank you. Happy New Year to everybody.
Yeah.
Yes, I think I'm finally catching up. Yeah, it's been a very slow start to the new year, deliberately so, but yeah, I'm finally catching up.
18 weeks later, January seems to have 20 weeks in it.
I guess I have January
Yes.
blues.
Yes, it's taking very long. So welcome everybody to our very first episode for the year 2024. This is called Eziko Conversations. For those that will be joining us for the first time, welcome. We're very glad to have you here. And over here, what we do is we discuss all things related to relationships. So it could be your romantic relationships, it's your family relationships, anything that requires us to relate with other human beings. Look, we even take it as far as our relationships with money and all things because life is just about relating. So, my name is Coach Nunu, and I co host this beautiful show with Lundi, who will introduce herself a little later. So, what I do is I am a family coach and I help people to heal from their traumas and childhood wounds that they incurred as a result of their upbringing. Yeah, so Coach Lundi, introduce yourself to those who may not know who you are.
Yes, so if you are coming across us for the very first time, in these work streets, I am known as Coach Londi. My parents named me Londeka. And yes, I work with high achievers as a relationship coach. I help them close the gap between love and success. So those that have achieved great amount of success financially or otherwise, but they feel like there is a gap. It's like the more success they get, the further away love and the quality of relationships eludes them. So yes, that's who I work with, high achievers who want to close the gap between love and success, who want love and good quality relationships to be a part of their legacy. I'm the woman they call who helps them deal with the invisible barriers that create this distance. So yes, that's me in a nutshell.
Wonderful stuff. And somebody may be wondering why you and I are doing this together, partnering. And I'll tell you a simple reason. A lot of the times people have problems or relationship issues, maybe in their romantic relationships. And because we do what we do, we know that a lot of the time, what manifests as a you problem, a problem that you have with romantic relationship, usually has its roots in the family and how you were brought up and what you were made to believe about love, about relationships, either based on conditioning or just for observation, because as children, we watch what grown-ups do and we take it in without even realizing that that's what is happening. And usually that goes on to form the blueprint of how we relate when we now become adults and get into relationships. So that is the link, that is the connection, and that is the synergy. So what we are here to do is to help shed light on some of those blind spots you may have been missing as to why it is you keep experiencing unwanted patterns, as why you keep on attracting people that you rather would not. You know, we shed a bit of light as to why that may be the reason. So, just as a recap, we have had well over 10 episodes of this program of Eziko Conversations. I believe we are on to our 12th episode, if I'm not mistaken. And
Yes.
yes, we ended off the year 2023 with a wonderful, wonderful event called Eziko Conversations Live, which was such a beautiful experience. And we promise to bring you more of those during this year, because nothing beats having conversations face to face. Nothing beats us gathering together with the intention of breaking cycles and establishing new patterns that lead to us being happier in a relationship. Because, I mean, what is the point of it all if you get into relationships and you don't get to experience the joy and the happiness? So, yeah. Right. And on to what we are gathered here for today. Our topic is a very interesting one, and I will be the co-pilot. I'm on the passenger seat today. Coach Lloyd will be seeing this ship because I'm not so sure. I have the answer.
Wow.
Okay, so we'll leave it to the experts. We'll leave it to the people who know better. So, a lot of the times we get this question coming back over and over and over again. And we thought, hey, why not make it a topic and we discuss it and tackle it head on? And that question is, why are relationships so hard? Why is this thing that is meant to give us so much happiness and joy, the stuff that we see on TV, we just never get to experience, or we experience it for a short while and then we are just dealing with problems after problems? So yes, Coach Landy, please enlighten us. Why are relationships so
Hey.
hard?
Wow, if I got paid just to answer that question, I would be a very rich woman, hey? Yeah, you're absolutely right. It is a very common question. I don't think there's anybody I've ever worked with who has never asked me that question. And the answer is very simple, but also very annoying, very triggering, very frustrating. And because because it goes against our intellect, and we are very smart people. The answer is relationships are hard because our independence is running the show. And when I'm talking about independence, I'm not talking about self-sufficiency. There's a difference between independence and self-sufficiency. And this is where I want to invite people to do a bit of soul searching around the difference between independence and self-sufficiency, because there is a misconception and a misunderstanding of this. And when I'm talking about soul searching, it's because it's one of the things that make relationship easy, because relationship depend on personal revelation. Personal revelation is one of the strategies that actually make relationship easy. So I'm encouraging and inviting you, if you are like, because I know immediately when we hear independence becoming a problem, yay, we get all sorts of frustration happening, we get all sorts of walls coming up, our guard comes up and we want to defend ourselves. So, and it's because of this misunderstanding between independence and self-sufficiency. We are very much self-sufficient, but we were never meant to be independent as human beings. So we have taken on independence, and this independence has become a barrier to how we relate and to how we welcome and exchange love with one another in relationship. And the second thing is, we attempt to operate a thing that is not man-made as if it was man-made, because that's just our approach to everything. So relationships are not a man-made thing. They are a source, a God, a creator-made thing. But as people who are so grounded and rooted in independence, we want to operate relationships as if we are the source of this thing. We are the creator of this thing. And that just doesn't make it hard, but it makes it messy, hey? It gets really, really messy. Because what we do is we then lean on our own understanding. And our understanding is flawed. Why is it flawed? Because preceding understanding, or what gives birth to understanding, is knowledge. And we lack the knowledge, which is the truth, from the source, the creator of this thing. We don't know anything about this thing as per the intentions of the creator of this institution. And so we approach this institution as if we are the ones who created it, as if this is our own invention. And we proceed like that. And it's not a personal preference. So there's nothing to be ashamed about. There's nothing to go into self-judgment or self-criticism around. It was just a manifestation of the culture and the time and the era that we've been in. We were in the era of independence. We were in the era of seeing no value in understanding or gaining knowledge of the intention of the creator of anything. I mean, we buy cell phones, we buy fridges, we buy cars. All these things come with manuals. But how many of us open that thing? How many of us sit down with a manual? Have you ever opened a manual in your fridge? We only go back to those things. Exactly. We only go back to those things when we've struggled all that we can. Like, okay, we cannot struggle any further with this. Then you remember, oh, it comes with a manual. Then we go back and we go and seek the knowledge and the intention. And why doesn't it work this way when I press it over there? And what is this button intended to do? Only then do we go back to go and look at, how is this thing supposed to work? What am I supposed to do with it? What is its original intent? So that's what makes relationship difficult, because we've become so independent. We dismiss the value and the relevance and the importance of the original intent of the creator of this institution called relationship.
Very interesting. And I say that because, as you say, in this day and age, you know, there's a saying, a popular saying that the young ones use, like, it's not that deep. And now you are making it very deep. Like, come on, boy meets girl or whatever the situation. And we like each other, we're vibing, and we live happily ever after. So now you're bringing in all of these elements. Like, come on, wasn't this thing meant to be just like the simplest thing ever? So, but I want you to go back, please, and help us. You mentioned that there is a difference between independence and self-sufficiency. Please define those two terms for us, because I think that people would use them interchangeably, thinking that they mean the very same thing. So I would like you to help us please understand what it is when you say independence. What are you talking about in this context? And when you say self-sufficiency, what are you referring to?
And I'm going to give a very surface level response, because I really want us to get into the habit of getting information and knowledge through revelation. You know, we are in that time now where life is demanding that we participate in our lives at that level. So self-sufficiency is I have the ability and the capacity and the means and everything that is necessary to be able to sustain and self-regulate and be productive and sustain myself in life, you know? And independence says I have been cut off from the source, or I have cut myself off, or I have removed myself. I am now existing independently without the need of, without the connection with or the connection to. So I'm going to make an example. When we plant, because my husband plants, there's a process of transplanting that we go through. So if he's been planting seeds especially when he
Yeah.
plants seeds. He needs to go through the process of transplanting so that each seedling can grow independently. Meaning, when they grow as seeds together, they are connected. And so
Yeah.
they cannot grow together when they are connected because these roots and these plants and form two plants that are independent and growing individually of each other. So independence speaks more to our
Okay. All right.
individual, our being in our individualizing ourselves and existing as individuals without the interconnectedness. Now, with plants, the beautiful thing is, even if you separate the two, they are still connected to each other because they are growing in the same line in the same soil. So they are sharing the nutrients in the same soil. With us as human beings, we transplant and we separate ourselves from this creator, the source of things, and we want to exist as if we are man-made. We are self-made. We even term it, I'm self-made. And this self-made thing, our mind sometimes takes it as far as saying, I created myself. And if we are still having confusion and conversations to remind ourselves that you did not create yourself, then we have bigger problems. And those are one of the things that make relationships so hard, because we do not understand that this self-made concept does not mean you are the creator of you. And that breeds that independence, which is a separation.
And hence, we then experience problems with this concept called relating with each other, because even that is not man-made, if I'm understanding you correctly.
Like,
Very
why do we have
interesting.
the longing for relationship? You know, everything has a purpose behind it, but we are so surface based, we are so superficial around our need for relationship. We take it like a phone. I want to take nice pictures, I buy an iPhone. That was not the original intent of an iPhone. That was not the original intent of an iPhone. But how many people change their phones solely because they want to take better quality pictures, just for that purpose? But that was not the purpose of the phone.
Exactly,
but many people
exactly.
buy and make decisions on what phone to get based on the camera. And the phone was never designed to be a camera. That's what we do with our
And
relationship.
the camera is just one aspect of many on the
Which
phone.
is even a bonus aspect, because the very first phones that were created that serve the purpose of a phone never had cameras. That's
they
an
were
added
meant for
feature.
connection. Very interesting.
Yes.
They were meant to facilitate connection between people, isn't it? You now had a way to contact somebody who was far from you and connect with them. Interesting.
The camera,
Very, very
the camera is an evolution. It expresses the evolution of a phone, in the same way that certain aspects and experiences in our relationships are meant to express the evolution of our relationship. But we want to go and enjoy the benefits of an evolved relationship. It's like saying the phone must just take pictures and not connect us.
Heesh. It is that deep.
Oh yeah. So I'm not the crazy one. Good to know.
It is that deep. No, now that you put it that way, it is that deep, because wow, the way I'm understanding you, Coach Lundy, and I think I'm not alone in this. Basically, us as the current generation living in these modern times, we want to reap the latest benefits of something that has been there for since time immemorial, but without taking the time to educate ourselves and fully understand what the original purpose or intent of this thing was.
What the original
Just
purpose of it was.
purpose, just like our children don't know what a landline phone looks like. All they know is having cell phones to make TikTok videos with. Interesting. So, okay. Yeah, no, I'm blown away because it's funny how those things are right in our faces, but we miss them all the time. We really, really do, and like you say, people will get an iPhone or the fastest or the one that takes the best pictures just for that, so that I can be seen to be at a certain level in terms of state. So obviously, if you own an iPhone, it means that you live a certain type of lifestyle. Financially, you fall within a certain bracket because it's not cheap. And that's the other thing, is that the best of the best is not cheap. So we want those relationships that portray us in a certain manner, that and the more a relationship can do and produce, then it says that it is not a cheap one. But we don't even take the time to go and study what it is that we want to be holding in our hands. So tell me, Coach Lundi, you say that because of, and you're quite right, we are of the era of independence, independent woman, independent this, independent that, and that breeding separation. And I like what you mean, what you say when you say that process of transplanting that you speak of. And it is just how life is. All of us, we grow up and we have to form individually, but within a context of a society or a community of people that are like us. But before anybody is old enough, like for example, a child of 6 years cannot get into a romantic relationship. They still have a lot of growing up to do, right? And I think that has been switched around, where individuation is confused for independence. And in individuation, there are certain things that you draw from the community around you that will help contribute towards you becoming an individual before you can get into relationship with other people. So, in your opinion, then, what has this manifested as? What are we seeing as a result of this confusion between individuation and independence? How is this now manifesting as problems that you are experiencing when we attempt to have relationships?
Okay. Give me an example, because my mind is, I don't want to go deep again. So I want to start in the shadow and go down with it.
Let's paint a picture. Nuno is a young woman in her 30s. She's educated, highly so, has gone up to the highest levels, let's say tertiary. She's got a great job. Materially, she's very, very accomplished, right? In her career, she is recognized. She's done well for herself, right? But each time, the one area that she struggles with is in romantic relationships. And people have said to her, even the gogos, the grannies keep saying, because that's what this person would hear a lot of the times, that this lifestyle of yours, this independent lifestyle of yours, is what is standing in the way of you getting the right suitor. So what is Nunu struggling with? How is this independent? Because the world says, be that girl with her career, well achieved, highly accomplished. But now, why is this girl who is able to achieve so much, accomplish so much, seem to be struggling with the most basic of human aspects, relationships, getting a guy to just, have a thing going that is healthy and that gives them joy? What would be the problem then?
Okay. So Nunu doesn't have an independence problem because Nunu is not independent. Nunu is self-sufficient. Nunu is not independent. If Nunu was independent, she would not have gone to an educational tertiary institution and had to depend on teachers, on the institution itself that she was studying in, the environment. She would have not had to depend on other people and other resources for her to get the degree. So that is not independence because she did not do that herself by herself. That is interdependence. So Nunu is not independent. That's the first problem that Nunu has, is that Nunu is not clear about her own identity. She is not accurately identifying herself. She is not independent. For as long as whatever it is that you have accomplished, you had to depend on the presence and the interaction and the engagement and the collaboration of you and somebody else. You did not independently get that. You were not independent in that thing. So that's not independence. That is self-sufficiency. I was able to self-motivate. I was able to use my discipline. I was able to self-regulate so that I could keep up with this collaboration and produce the results that I, as an individual, had the vision of. Because my vision and my goal and my mission was only known to me. That is the individualization of me. However, the collaboration with the institution, the collaboration with the employer to get me to where I am in my life, that cannot be identified or defined as independence. That is collaboration. So a lot of people are walking around identifying themselves incorrectly, inaccurately, because we do not take the time to get what? Knowledge. True knowledge.
Undigqibile, and I say this because it means that we've been lied to.
Yes. Duh. That's no surprise.
We have been lied to. We have been lied to. And I say this because children, there's at least 3 to 4 generations that were raised with the intention of making them independent. Independent so that they don't have to rely on a man or a woman, and this whole. So if you ask a lot of people, why did you pursue the career that you are in? Why did you study for the degree that you hold? People more often will tell you, I wanted to be independent because I wanted this to make me a high earning individual. And because I had that concept in my mind, naturally, the next thing that should follow is for me to then attract a like-minded person, somebody who is on the same level as myself. But even then, the struggles where, fine, you go to your vets business schools, there's men, there's women, but still relationships are an issue. So independence seems to be this concept of independence so that we make ourselves high value people seems to be posing more problems than solutions, actually.
Just because of the misconception, just because the thing is, when we misunderstand when we do not have, that's why they say the truth will set you free. Because
but
right
first
now,
it'll make you mad. First it'll make you
yeah.
mad.
So like,
Hello.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
But now when you are able to define accurately, because as human beings, we depend so much on definitions. You know, that's the thing. We depend so much on definitions, but a lot of our definitions are distorted. And what I'm saying with the personal revelation is we don't do enough soul searching. This independence is such an illusion that we even depend on other people's knowledge and other people's definitions. We don't take the time to question. We don't take the time to contemplate. We don't take the time to investigate. But if this is independence, hi man, why do I need to collaborate with that one and I won't be able to do it by myself? You know, so and a lot of the misconception that we have around even the most basics of things is because we also fail to know the difference between a means and an end. You know, and so the collaboration, your independence is a result of, or your self-sufficiency is a result of a collaboration. So what we want to do is, a lot of times we are so uninterested in the process, in the method. All we care about is producing results and praising results. That is then where we miss the wisdom, the basic wisdom that is associated with everything in our lives. That's where we miss the revelation. And in the revelation, that's where you get to receive the manual, the original intent. You're not going to receive it by praising the status, which is what people want to do. They want to praise their relationship status. The status is the status should be an expression of the state of the relationship. But we rush into status without even bothering with the state of the relationship. When you know, okay. And then 3 years later, you are getting a divorce because you wanted the status
of the people,
before the state.
Or the state of the people that make up this union, because I believe that also contributes to the status. The state of these two individuals also matters.
Yes, because it's your state combined with my state produces the state of Eziko. When your state and my state is teka-taking, this whole thing will be teka-taking. Which is why we need to consistently and constantly check and be in check and be aware and be conscious and be improving the state of who we are so that we can be able to produce the status that people want. Oh, it works. How do you know it works? You know, and one of the things that we try to bypass the state with is we get into relationships gender-based, not character-based. Like you said, boy meets girl. That's gender. That's not state. That's not character. State says man meets woman. Not male meets female. Man meets woman, because there's a difference between woman and female. There's a difference between man and male. So see, now we're chasing gender in relationships, not character, not state.
True, I know.
Because man speaks to the state of the male person. Woman speak to the state of the female person. So it's in sifuna the gender-based relationships instead of the character-based relationships. And this is what creates a mess and this hardship that people are experiencing in relationships.
And this is why we have things like gender-based violence, because it speaks to the state of the relationships. We enter them, in the mindset of gender and not necessarily character, because maybe if we work more on our characters, we would be more discerning of the characters of the opposite gender that we invite into our lives. And by this, I am in no way trying to minimize or dismiss the experiences of people who find themselves in those situations of violence. But I'm just saying that some of the things, based on what you are saying, and which I agree with, by the way, is that had we taken more time to work more and look more and examine more of the characters of people we invite into our lives to relate with, then some of the problems that seem to be so popular in our society would not be as prevalent. And that is just the sad truth. Whew, Coach Lindy. Okay, I hear you. So
that is the liberating truth.
Yeah, the maddening but liberating truth. So what I'm getting from you, from what you have said so far, is that first of all, there's a saying that cuts across language and culture that says "Umntu ngumuntu ngabantu," which speaks to the interdependence that you are referring to. You cannot be a person that exists as an island. No man is an island. We need each other to fulfill the purpose of just being a person. You cannot be having a full human experience without relating and interacting with other people, which is why we find ourselves longing for relationships, because it's a natural thing. It's why we exist, number one. Number two is that self-sufficiency has been confused with independence. And I think that if we are to solve one issue and answer that one question as to why relationships are so hard, we need to change our understanding of some of the things we have come to embrace and believe as truth, especially as the current generation. And I mention this because, a lot of the things that you are saying, we've heard from the older people in our lives, from the grannies, nabomkhulu, but we dismiss them because we're thinking, no, that's just old stuff. It doesn't apply anymore. We are in modern times. And yet, funny enough, those are the people who happen to get relationships right with their little education or none at all, So, yeah, man, it is so, so interesting. And the third one is relationships are hard because relationships require people who are fully individuated. And that means people who continuously work on their characters, because at the end, you attract who you are. You attract what you are. So just like a plant in the garden, for that plant to grow, for it to produce fruit, you need to tend to it all the time. You need to water it. You need to pick out the weeds. And why is this eluding us as human beings? Because it's just nature. That's how it is. Whether you have a pet, you need to be taking care of your pet. You need to make sure that pet is fed. You need to make sure that pet is looked after when it's not well. But we don't want to do the same with ourselves. And then we expect to find people that are perfect, people that are fully formed, and also that this is an ongoing process. You don't work on yourself and finish today. It just doesn't happen the next day or whenever. The day you do not have the job of working on yourself is the day that you close your eyes forever, meaning you meet your death, right? So it is a continuous thing. We should be continuously working on our characters in order for us to attract the type of relationships and the type of people who will meet us where we are, our types, as we usually say,
And let
right?
me tell you, and let me show you what that solves, what you're speaking about, the working on yourself. That solves the self-made, man-made problem. Because when you are doing this thing you are referring to as working on yourself, this is where you get to connect with and meet your maker, your creator. Because we were never meant to meet our maker and our creator through death. We were meant to meet our maker and our creator in life, so that we can be able to get the guidance and the manual through this life. Because it exists, it's there. But a lot of us are winging it because we are unable. No, it's not that we are unable, we are very much able. We are unwilling to do this thing that you are saying, that work on yourself, so that you can meet your maker, so that the mind and the original intent of your maker will be revealed to you. And when you get that revelation, everything else falls into place. Nobody is saying that things will become easy, they will become rosy, you will not experience pain, discomfort, whatever. But when you have the understanding that comes from truth, the understanding that comes from knowing intent, from connecting with intent, then you do not have to endure through life.
Hey, ngoba we enjoy, and we enjoy from the things, from the situations and relationships we put ourselves into according to what we think we deserve. And anyway.
We endure based on the stuff we give ourselves because of our ignorance, because of our denial of the fact that we come from something, from somewhere.
Yeah, I hear you. And I like that you have started touching on that, Coach Londi, because you mentioned the second point, which I want us to delve deeper into when you said that. Another reason why relationships are so hard is because we treat them as if they are man-made. And so, okay, if they are not man-made, who made them? Who made them? And I was starting on that point. Who made them? And how were they meant to go? Because, like I've said,
the same stuff or same thing or same person that made you. Where do you come from? The stuff that made you made relationships. What are you made of? From where? The source of the source of you is the source of relationship.
So, but now what are you saying, Coach Londi? Does then this mean Uguti? Because those who believe in a higher source, regardless of who you refer it to, be it God, be your ancestors, whoever, Buddha, it doesn't matter. Are you then saying, Gemanje Uguti, I have no choice in a mate, in a partner, I must now go consult a higher source?
You have no choice in the operation of, in the same way you have no choice in the operating of a phone. You cannot operate it any way you want. A phone is a phone. You cannot take a phone, plug it on the wall, and iron your clothes with it. A phone is a phone. It's designed with an intention. and a purpose. A relationship is a relationship. It's designed with an intention and a purpose. You cannot use it for any other purpose than the purpose it is designed for. How do we know? We identify a need. Okay, I need me some warm food every day when I come back from work. Let me get a microwave. I get a microwave. I'm not going to take the same microwave and go plug it in the wall and say I'm going to watch DSTV from the microwave. And if I want my microwave to work to maximum capacity in the way that it was designed to, because some of us think there are so many buttons on that microwave. My microwave has so many buttons, and that thing is older than my last born son. But there are buttons I have never pressed on it. I don't know what it does. I don't even know. The manual is long gone. So I'm even underutilizing my own microwave because there are buttons there that I haven't pressed. I don't know what they do, but they are there. But I never bothered myself to open the manual and see, oh, the inventor and the creator of this microwave says that this button is for this and that. If I want to do X, Y, Z, I must follow this process ABC. In the same way, however you refer to who you believe is your creator, they created this thing called relationship. For what purpose? Yes, you have identified a need that this relationship can be a resource to meet. Oh, okay, I want me some companionship. Oh, okay. So if you want companionship, where do you press? How do you operate this thing so that it gives you the companionship? I want romance. Oh, all right. So this thing is capable. It has the ability to offer you the romance, to give you the experience of romance. How do you press it? How do you operate it? What type of stuff do you put in there so that it produces romance? Because when I'm putting frozen things there and I press a button for cooking, when I want to defrost,
So tell me this, manje, for the person who's sitting here confused on some, I've never had to do it that way. I've never used criteria for selecting a potential partner. But because all of my ways have failed, and I'm at a point now where I'm willing to try something I haven't before. And it seems like this divine source way is the one I haven't explored before. Where does my preference, involvement start and end, and where does the involvement and preference of this divine source start and end? Are you telling me that I will be given now? So I go and I ask from source, from God, I pray, I fast for 21 days. People are doing that. It's the beginning of the year, and there's nothing wrong with that. Lord, give me a mate. Give me a mate that is worthy of me. Give me a mate that is tall, dark, and handsome. Give me a mate who's educated, who can provide financially, blah, 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 blah. Are you saying God is going to now give me somebody who does not tick my boxes simply because he wants to fulfill what he wants to fulfill with me and that relationship? Must I just take it? What are you saying, Coach Londi? I don't want to get myself into something where I end up with something I'm not going to like at the end of the day. I still want to look at this person and like them. I still want to feel like, ooh, great choice. But now if you are saying to me, it sounds like I must now hand over my power and just, and Mina, all along, Pella, I've been rolling my sleeves and getting to work in choosing my people, even though it didn't work, but I still want to feel like I had a part. I had a part.
I love that even though it didn't work.
Yes, please, if there's anything, my exes are good looking, or if there's anything, my exes are wealthy. So, Manje, are you telling me I have to settle for somebody that's broke just because I'm going to get the relationship experience that I want? What are you saying? What are you saying, Kahle Kahle?
What I'm saying is there's Samsung, there's Nokia, there's iPhone. And you have a preference. All of these things are called phone communication devices. Ne?
Yes.
And
Yes.
these communication devices, they all do the same thing at different levels, or they do the same thing in the same way, but the quality of it is, I don't know, whatever quality we've all experienced
Different.
of them.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So now we all have the same perception and approach to this source of ours. It is because you know what you will get and how iPhone operates that you go for the iPhone. It is because you know you have some knowledge of Nokia. That's why you go to Nokia. It is because you have some knowledge of whatever brand that you go to that brand. Now, you need to have some knowledge of your source for you to know what it will produce. Because your knowledge of iPhone tells you iPhone will produce the best quality of connection, speed, megapixels, whatever. And so you choose iPhone to be the supplier of your choice. And then it becomes the source that provides your connection and whatever. So now, if you don't take the time to do the work, that lets you know and gives you insight into whatever thing you refer to as your source. Then you're going to have the problems of thinking you are being forced to settle. Because if you don't know how iPhone operates, if you don't know what makes iPhone, you will think you are settling. So what makes your source your source? How do they function? What are the characteristics of it? Then you will know what will be produced and supplied.
Sure. Yes, yeah. There's somebody who's watching this who's thinking, yes, at the start of this recording, all I wanted was to find ways of how to get my perfect partner. Now I'm being told of things that I just like, yo, it's becoming deeper and deeper. But I think it's important for us to highlight and note that over here, the types of relationships we're talking about, because like you say, Coach Landine, there's different phone brands, they serve the same purpose, but they operate differently and they are different. The same goes for the quality of relationships, So I think this is a disclaimer that we should have mentioned in the beginning for those that are joining us for the first time, to say that the quality of relationships that you are talking about here are the type where one is looking for growth, companionship, fulfillment, like the serious type, the type where you will feel you will come out of, even if they do, and you will come out of feeling like, you know what, that was not a wasted experience. We are not talking the Mjolo type where they serve surface level needs. We are talking about meaningful relationships, people who are intent on having wholesome and fulfilling relationships. And by that, we are not saying perfect or easy relationships, because even those types of relationships have their challenges, but it's the type where if you had to find yourself in, you still would not regret having been in that relationship. It serves your highest purpose. It makes you a better person. It's something that you can be proud of. So I think for those that are joining us for the first time, that is the types of relationships we are referring to. We are not talking we are not talking about flings, we're not talking about things that are fleeting. But if you are intent on having a relationship, man, that will edify your life. There's something called to edify that will add value that will add to you as an individual and your whole entire human experience, then this is what we are talking about. Hence, everything that we are talking about here sounds very deep. Hence, everything is taking us back to source, because over here, our intention is for us to grow as people, and we acknowledge that the things that we have come to believe, like we have mentioned before, whether from conditioning or from observations, a lot of those things are distorted. But for us to get to the truth of what these things that we desire are, we need to go deep. We need to go to the roots, and we need to understand the original intent so that we may have a chance at experiencing the real thing, the real thing. And for you to experience the real thing, it requires that you know the truth and that you tell the truth. And the truth sometimes often involves a lot of dirty work in terms of digging up stuff that you have come to believe for a long time, digging up stuff, uprooting and relearning how things are done, things that we see every day, but us knowing and fully understanding why they are there, why we struggle with them, but more importantly, how can we have a better experience of them? How can we also access the joy of these things? Because two people can eat an orange. One can experience it as sour, the other can experience it as sweet. And the same goes for relationships. So if your experience of eating oranges has been a sour one, and you are tired of that because you want to be like those people who are really digging into their sweet oranges, just going in and even forgetting that they're in public, we also want you to experience that. But you also need to understand that it takes a lot of work, and the work starts with you, like Coach Lundi has been saying. The work starts with you, because the better quality individual you are, the better quality mates you will attract. And as a result, you will experience higher quality relationships. Because as much as we want to shy away from the truth, a lot of us experience poor quality relationships because a lot of aspects in us are in a poor state. How we see ourselves, how we treat ourselves, the things that we are willing to settle for just in the name of being in a relationship, then the experience of that relationship will be poor, because even you are not seeing the value in you. So you are bringing in your poverty mindset to this. And so that is exactly what will be produced in your experience of relationship. So I thought it important that we state that, because until you just come to a place of wanting more for yourself, wanting better for yourself, you will take the time it requires and the effort and the energy to work on improving yourself. And we all know that when you do that, all of the things that you start attracting become better. They meet you where you are. They meet you where you are. We understand this in our careers. We understand that if I want to rise to senior executive level, maybe I need to take a couple of courses to improve my standing, right? And yet we don't want to do the same with relationships. We know people will invest, people will go, people who have been working for years and years and years will go and enroll for MBAs because they understand now, after I achieve this, it puts me at a better standing to attract what? Very senior positions. I will now be able to sit on boards of corporates and so on and so forth. Something that you will not be able to do before you get that. And so the same goes with relationships. So, yeah, that being said, Coach Londi, there is a very popular, I don't want to say problem, but there is a very popular, yes, it is a problem, for lack of a better word, of people crying about being used these days. Everybody, everybody is complaining about I'm being used. Men will cry about women using them for money. Women, I spent 7 years in a relationship. That guy used me, and when he got better, he left me for somebody who found him at a much better state. This thing of being used is very common and prevalent in relationships. And Namige, in my practice with people who come with family issues, it is even there where people will say, yo, my family used me. They use me. They don't like me. They don't love me. They just want what I can produce. They are using me. They give the love to other people who don't even do half of what I do. So, but bringing it to the context of romantic relationships, why are we using each other? Why is it such a thing? People are scammed day in, day out. People are scammed. People are scared now of getting into relationships because it would seem that people use relationships to advance themselves. And once they get what they want, they leave, and they leave people broken, and they leave people hurt and miserable. Why this using thing, manje? Because ngazuthi futhi it comes with this current generation. I don't remember people from my grandmother's era crying about being used. You were in a relationship, you're in a relationship. This day we are used one. People are being used. Why are we using each other, Coach Lindy? What's happening there?
That's a whole episode on its own. But before I answer that, I just want us to get to that point of accepting reality, man, especially when it comes to relationships. Relationships are that deep. They are. They just are. It is the mere fact that a person would be here searching for answers on why is it not working, why is it so hard, means that the superficiality and the surface level of it all is just no longer working because it is that deep. So if the denial around the depth that is required to have a fulfilling relationship, to experience fulfillment within your love life, the choice is simple. It's either denial or acceptance of the fact that it's deep, because it is. It's just, that's the fact of the matter. Now back to the being used and the scamming each other in relationships. Abuse is what you experience when you misuse, when a self first, a product. Your phone will abuse you if you misuse it. You will experience, no, the phone will not abuse you. You will experience abuse when you misuse your phone. You will experience abuse if you misuse your fridge. What do I mean? You will experience abuse and being scammed and being used when you misuse your relationship. What do I mean? Abuse is the result of the thing that you gave your power to, coming back and then using that power to hurt and injure you. That's abuse. So I gave my power of joy, my power of feeling of completeness, my power of worthiness, my power of feeling complete. And I said it is dependent upon, and I will experience this on condition. So I put conditions, my joy. I put conditions to my completeness, saying that if I'm by myself, I am incomplete, I am alone, I am lonely. And then I take my completeness, my experience of completeness, and I attach a condition to it. I will feel complete when I have a person next to me. And that's not enough. They must just not be next to me, but they must look a certain way, behave a certain way, have certain things, and then you start making them a project. Because believe you me, the people that feel abused are the people that take other human beings and they want to have dominion and dominate and authority and rulership and control over other human beings. It feels like being used, it feels like being scammed, because now this person is not being a puppet. They are not acting in the way that you want them to act based on what you have put and imposed onto them. So when they recognize your impositions on them and they are like, I have free will and I'm not going to stand for this, they take their free will and they walk out the door. You feel scammed and used. Why? Because you were imposing yourself on them. You were literally stripping them of their free will. They must become this thing so that they meet your conditions. So you attempt to use people, you attempt to use your connection or your attachment to a person. You use that, you abuse it, because when they enter your life and they offer you their presence, instead of you enjoying that presence, you want to morph and change it and craft it and make it this thing that they are not. And that's why you feel used. That's why you recognize the difference between when they walked in and when they walk out. What happened in between? Why? What happened in between? My efforts. You are the one who judged. You are the one who saw a missing something here that the person wasn't even aware of. And you went and imposed it on them. And then when they wake up on some, but no. Oh, this is costing me too much. And they walk out the door. Then I'm used.
But Coach Lundi, okay, fine, I hear you. I do. But here's a scenario. Nunu meets Sfiso and we connect, high energy. Hey man, we're feeling each other. And then Nunu then says 2 weeks into Sfiso, my child is not going to get space at school because I need to pay 5,000 rands and I don't know where else to go. So, oh my gosh, can you please help me pay for my child's fees because I don't want her losing space at the school. Right? And Swissa is thinking, Nunu and I are here, we're good, the vibes, and she's my person. Let me give it to her. And he gives me the money. And yeah, we don't know if I pay for my child or not. And then the next time my mother has to go to hospital, I need another amount of money. And then in 3 months' time, Nunu now meets somebody else. Nunu says to Sfiso, you know what? It's been real. Thank you very, very much. I'm out. Now, are you saying, Uguti, was Fiso wrong? Because Fiso is thinking, Pela, this is my person. Why should I not help her? She asked and I could help and I did. And now she's left me despite having done that. Basically, when I look at it now in hindsight, it seems like this girl was just using me for money. That's what I'm referring to because it's a very, 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 very common thing these days. What do you say to that?
Okay. So there's a couple of things at play. Number one, Sfiso. It's Sfiso, right? Sfiso.
Yes, it's.
I always get that, like, but coach, you don't even know my boyfriend's name. I'm like, it doesn't matter. He could be a Mafano in Piwe. But could you even ask me about my girlfriend? I'm like, yeah, it's fine. I don't need to know about a girlfriend. we're still at the you stuff here. So in that case, we spoke about the state. We spoke about character. And then we spoke about the function and understanding the function and the purpose of a relationship. And we said, I buy an iPhone to get pictures. And an iPhone is designed for 100 other things plus pictures. But my only concern is pictures. And so the day the iPhone stops taking pictures, my camera breaks, I'm going to then say iPhone is a bad brand because it did not do the function that I exclusively wanted it for.
Bought it for.
So relationship has functions, it has purpose. And one of the many functions, depending on which one you want, you get into relationships solely for that function. So as FISO could be used looking for a self-esteem validation, boost, whatever. If as FISO goes into a relationship and with a Nunu who is in a state where she is not self-sufficient enough to be able to take care of her child that I found with her. Already, Nunu is not self-sufficient, meaning I need to recognize the imbalance that is in there. I need to recognize the plate that I'm stepping up to. This is something that's going to, a feature that is going to come with this relationship. One of the features is I'm stepping up, I'm stepping in. I'm going to be stepping on that level. So that's a feature that I'm going to experience as part of this relationship experience. It's a feature. Now, it is going to be my character and my wisdom that's going to determine how fulfilled I am in that relationship while stepping into that feature. Now, if that feature was something that I was using to get something on the side, then I'm going to be feeling used when I don't get a return on that. But if I'm stepping up for the fulfillment of, oh, it comes with a camera. Oh, how nice. Then I'm going to feel used. Because we go into relationships looking for the features to be the function, the main function and the purpose of the thing. And then when we get a rude awakening and when we get disillusioned, because the feature is not the purpose of the phone. The camera is not the purpose of the phone. The camera can be broken and the phone will still work. Then we get heartbroken because we wanted the feature.
Yeah.
We do that with relationships. I want companionship because I don't want to be alone. We enter relationship. We enter commitment. We go into commitment. Companionship is a temporary thing. Commitment is a long-term thing.
It is.
But I want a temporary thing, which is companionship. But I go and attach a permanent thing, which is commitment. And I want these two things to be one and the same thing. The same way I was using independence, I was using self-sufficiency as independence. People want romance. They want the pleasures of romance. But they want to attach commitment and all of these things that they have not conceptualized, that they have not really asked themselves, do I want this as part of the package? And so because this one is more temporary than the other one, I will get heartbroken when the camera breaks. Because I cannot distinguish between the feature and the purpose and the intent of this thing. My intention is what? And then I pull up the application. My intention is connection. I pull up the application. This application here, Mali, that you're pulling up, what intention is it serving? Because if it is not serving a certain intention that aligns with the overall purpose of the grand scheme of things, then I'm going to feel used. Because if I was a Sfiso stepping into a relationship and aware that my experience will be to step up or step in and perform these other roles in this relationship, when I received the gratitude, when this person passes in school or when they are registered, or I would be fulfilled in that. I would not be attached.
Yeah. To the outcome.
And that is unfortunate.
So
not
is
even
it
the
wrong
outcome, to the unfolding.
So is it wrong for Sfiso to feel betrayed when Nunu leaves him now because he
was there
saw
agreement between me and
saw
you?
he saw him helping as investment into the relationship.
Is that how
part
relationships function?
That's how
And if we are back to that thing, Nunu Yoguti, it doesn't matter what you do with the phone. If it is not designed to function at its optimum like that, it's just not. Doesn't matter what you do. Oksalayo, the phone will do what the phone is designed to do. Doesn't matter how you use it. If it's not the intention and the intent of it, then it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. And then you will feel used. Hey, iPhone doesn't Bluetooth, it doesn't do what it doesn't, what. You feel used. Because why? You bought a phone that doesn't function like that and you want it to function like that.
Yes,
the same thing we do in relationships. A relationship is...
a common one with iPhone. iPhone doesn't have a built-in radio. And people cry foul after. Yes. You spent 15K. I must download an app for radio. It does not have a radio. What do you mean? It's a shock to the system to a lot of people who buy iPhone. And they never checked. They never. And then some of us, I don't own a phone. I never have. But I remember this actually happened at work some time ago, and this girl had just received her iPhone. She was like, "Oh my gosh, I cannot believe it! iPhone doesn't have a radio, and why would such an expensive phone not have a radio?" I said, "iPhone has never had a radio. I know that. I've never used iPhone, but I know that iPhone does not come with a radio, and it's actually for me." One of the reasons why I wouldn't buy it, because radio is very important to me. I need to have a radio on my phone, And she was so disappointed. She was like, she was even considering if she should return it because, hey boo, what is this? No radio on such an expensive phone,
And then when I get this thing, when we are putting it in context, yaga relationship, what we are talking about with you and Sfiso, and is it goes back to the status and the state. Like the status of the relationship, meaning, and if you feel betrayed because she left, so your relationship status has changed from being together, living together, to now I'm single.
To being betrayed and dumped. Forget singles.
So, but the Sfiso status now is single. The status of the relationship has changed. The state, what Sfiso didn't get was the state of the relationship. He neglected that. What I was saying, that the status of the relationship confirms the state of the relationship. So if I'm singing and I'm feeling betrayed, what was the state of the relationship? Because the feeling used, you didn't start feeling used after they dump you. You were feeling used while she was still asking for the money, but you didn't say anything. You didn't inquire about it. You don't feel used when they are gone. You feel used while they are asking you for the money and you are giving the money with your frustrated heart.
But I need to imagine
with your
the lady
insecure.
that after she's gone, and it's now that she says, ha ha. Okay.
But it's that level of disconnection with yourself. And when you are disconnected with yourself, then you will be disconnected with the overall function and purpose of your relationship, with the overall desire attached, the true desire attached to your relationship. And
so what's really going on, man, actually?
And the main thing is a lot of people make relationship status. They confuse the fact that they make the status of the relationship take the place of their true desire. Our truest desire is not a relationship status. Our truest desire is relationship state, the quality of a relationship. Yes. That's why we couldn't care less whether we are married, whatever, and we are choncharing each other, whatever is happening, as long as I feel good about it and it's good for me. That's why there's so many different new names for relationships are coming up every single day because people are trying to justify having their relationship be in this container or looking in this way. They are finding new statuses. Because of this confusion, the relationship status is the desire. It's not. It's not. The status is not the truest desire.
You're so right. And to add on to what you're saying, and here's a disclaimer again, coming personally from Coach Nuno. I'm not promoting anything. I'm just telling the truth based on what I see. What you are saying, I agree with. You know why? You have women, and I guess there are men, but I don't know much of it from the men's side. You have women that have been mistresses for years with married men. And we all know how people feel about those relationships. But those women will tell you boldly and unapologetically that, listen, that relationship works for me. I'm very happy. I don't feel cheated. I know he's married. I know he's got a family. We see each other when we see each other on agreed upon times. My needs are met. He makes me happy to the point that I don't even wish to be with a man that is single and unattached. I'm happy where I am. And I think I'm raising that to showcase and highlight that point that you are making, Uguti. It's not about, and I'm not, like I said, this is not an issue of is it right, is it wrong, what, no. Because that woman is happy and fulfilled and the relationship meets her needs, she doesn't even feel the need to change how things are. In fact, I've heard of mistresses who have left their partners when they say they want to leave their wives for them. Say, no. I like it this way. Let's keep it this way. Because they have come to an understanding of who they are, what they want, what works for them, and this meets their needs. So why? So because also the inverse is true, where you find people, so in this side, people who have the commitment, who have the status, the title, read as married, but the joy and fulfillment we have come to expect from it is absent. It's not there, and yet they have the status, as you say, but the joy that we think should come from it is not there. They are not happy. Hence you will hear sayings like this mistress is saying, keep the ring, I'll keep the man. It comes from such things, because they have come to understand, me, I'm happy, Shane. I'm happy. Call me all the names you want, but I get what I want, and I don't feel like I'm being shortchanged. And on the same breath, you find mistresses that are unhappy because, really, now, well, they haven't done their due diligence on them. That's why they are settling for situations, hoping that they change. So, like you say, it's not about the status. It's not about how we refer to you. It's not about how we see. It's about when inside of your relationship, are your needs being met? And firstly, needs can't be met if you don't know what they are yourself, number one, and you are also unable now to meet yourself halfway so that you are able to say to the next person, this, and this, and this is what I require, and they are able to deliver on them. So it's very important, and it also shows the importance of us working on ourselves so that wherever we find ourselves, it you don't feel like you're being shortchanged. You don't feel like this is hard. Hey, I'm settling. Hey, I'm being scammed. Hey, I'm being used. Because it starts with you, Valence. Just like all things, it starts with you. Okay, Gelondi, without us stretching it too much, the final one that I want us to touch on, and I think you touched on it in the beginning, please, because you are breaking people's hearts when you're telling them, we have people about when you know, but manjena, where does this put them? Because when they met this person and they knew and now it's not knowing, it's hard.
And whose problem is that?
I pay like it's relationships are hard. When you know, why
if your knowing becomes wrong, whose problem is it? Who came up with the knowing? Now
but
you bring your knowing and you say I know. When I know. You bring your knowing here. And then when the relationship questions your knowing, why is it then the problem of the relationship that your knowing was inaccurate?
But my heart said she's the one.
Based on what? So, Manja, who's supposed to disagree with your heart?
But now are you saying my heart lied? Tell her, listen, there's people.
I don't know. Where does your knowing come from? I really honestly don't know. Where does your knowing come from?
Hey, Bandla. So there's people here. So when we say relationships are hard, we're talking both about people that are in relationships and outside of relationships. So there's people who are inside of relationships where, listen, man, the first time we laid eyes on each other, we just knew.
No. Before you even go very far, maybe we should have asked the question, what does it mean when we say relationships are hard? What does that mean? What does that look like? Is it life is hard because I am now in relationship with this person? Or is it is hard to stay in relationship? What is hard? Where's the hard part? Is it the doing life together, or is it the staying together? What is the hard part? Where's the hardship? What do you mean relationships are hard? What's hard about it?
Yes. That's a very good question. That's a very, very good question. Because you do find people who will say, doing life with this one, hey, it's hard. And they know if they step out, everything is okay. It's just doing life with this one. Yabo? And then listen, man, we locked eyes for the first time and we knew, yes, this is my rib, this is my sofa slash. Yo, but now, you, it's so hard. It's like, where's that? You know, so I
Then there are
don't
those
know.
that meet their sofas every other month.
Yes, please. Okay.
Like,
All right.
why can I just not stay with my one sofa baggage? Why must I meet a new one every 3 months?
Yes. Like, why, guys?
So what
Why?
is because your hardship determines what applies to you in this entire conversation.
Hmm.
In this very long conversation. So now you're here. Now you're getting clarity on, okay, now what is the real problem? Now you can go back to the beginning of the conversation, because life is understood in hindsight. Press play again, and then see, where do you fit in?
Yes.
Because what is your struggle? There are people who say, I try. Every 3 months I try. Hey, then I take a sabbatical, and then I try again, and then it still lasts for 3 months. There are those that say, hi, Bo, it is so hard. And I'm thinking it's because of the existence of this relationship. And then there are those that say, hi, so now we've decided this is it. But having this thing be and what we thought it was going to be is the hard. What is your heart?
Yeah, I think that's the starting point, and you're so right. I think that's the starting point. I think it's very easy to, I always warn against, repeating things that are popular, relationships are hard. Question it, examine it, and apply it to your situation, as you say, Coach Lundy, because some people are busy going around saying relationships are hard. They haven't even taken the time to sit down and ask what part of it is hard, like you say, and you've broken it down so beautifully. Where do you fit? Because you knowing that you have now started the process of unraveling this mystery that you are faced with, because maybe you are just wrong relationship, or you're attracting the wrong people, or maybe you are in a good relationship with a good partner, but life is hard, but your relationship is okay. So really, it's not correct to say.
And the solution to all of them will come back to, what's your approach to this thing? Like, what is your approach to iPhone? My approach to iPhone is it must be a good camera. Okay. Was iPhone designed just to be a good camera? Why is this phone like this? And I only have 100 and 2080 gig, and my camera and my picture life needs 300 gig, because it's not a bloody camera.
I am laughing.
Then you're saying, and now you have a problem,
yeah.
So when you can then go back and say, okay, my problem is I'm trying to make iPhone a camera, and it's a phone. It's a connection device with features that include camera. Then when you've identified your heart, you are then going to go, okay, it is a microwave. I'm trying to grill and fry things with the microwave. It is a fridge, and I'm trying to cook. Because more often than not, it is that thing of we are misusing relationships. Your relationship is not supposed to be your pacifier. There's a pacifier and gun. Life is hard. They put a pacifier in your mouth, and then I feel bad. Was it designed to be that?
No, it's temporary.
Hey, what is it?
Temporary.
That desire, that true desire thing, be honest about your true desires. Because when you are honest about your true desires, then you will know what app to use, what function to use in this intricate creation. when you are true, when you are honest about your true desires. I just want companionship. I just want romance. I just want an orgasm every now and then. Was this thing designed to do that, or is that a feature? Is that the original intent of this thing? Because that determines how you will experience it. If when you want an orgasm machine from a relationship, and the original intent of a relationship wasn't to be an orgasm machine, if it's unfulfilling, obviously it wasn't. That's not the proper purpose of it. So when you feel unfulfilled, you know, oh, I'm misusing this thing. I'm not using it to its full capacity. That's the problem. But yeah, let's go beneath the surface. If you want to be successful in a relationship, guys, let's just stop lying to ourselves. This, I don't want it to be deep, then stay away. Just don't.
No, it's okay to not want it. No, let me say that, Coach Lundi. You know, in different times and stages of one's life, you won't always want a very deep relationship. There are times, and when it's perfectly okay, my man, when you say, right now, where I am and what my needs, I'm just looking for something light. But I think the key, be truthful about what you want, and also be truthful about how then that relationship will present. I need you don't want anything serious. You're not building here. You're not looking to get married. You just want to have somebody that you go to dinner with, that you share nice orgasms with. You're not looking for much. That's fine. But like, be clear.
Clarity. What I'm saying with the depth of it is,
yeah,
the deep is, it will always be deep because it requires you to be honest and truthful. And honesty and truth are buried deep. They are not at surface level.
Very good.
So that is the deep that I'm talking about. That if your approach is superficial, then no matter what relationship you get into, no matter what need you are trying to meet with it, it'll always feel painful and hard until you go deep with your truth, with your deepest desire. Your deepest desire in relationship is buried deep. It is not at surface level. That's the deep that I'm talking about.
Yes.
It's not how you get to do the relationship. It's just that in order for it to be fulfilling, you need to go deep within you.
Yes, and tell the truth, guys.
So that you extract the truth around what do you want this relation, what do you want this thing to do? Is it designed to do that? If I want just the camera, and an iPhone is not designed to be just a camera, what does that mean?
Yes, because you know, there's times when people will have a smartphone, and then umuntu owning a smartphone, you know what? Actually, I don't even use 80% of the features on a smartphone. So, hi man, I'm getting myself a dongle. You know those ones, the one for smartphone. Yeah, so with me, all I want is just to receive calls and make calls, get SMSs, send SMSs, and that is all.
But then that this thing is then know the design of the thing and know the intent of the thing. Because when you have upopop, you need to be able to accept that this thing is designed in this way. I cannot have this level of brightness la.
Yes.
I cannot have this level of this quality of connection la. It is not a dual thing, this thing. It is not a touch screen, this thing. That is the depth that I'm talking about. That know what you are using. Have that knowledge of what is this thing. It's a smartphone, therefore it means
A, B, C, D, because a smartphone is originally designed and created to perform X, Y, Z. Oh, this is a popopo. Oh, and a popopo is originally designed with such and such specs that perform in such and such a way. This is how far I can use it. These are the limitations. This is how far I can stretch it. That's what we're talking about. It is this lack or this ignorance to what we are using, to what we are choosing, to what we are putting ourselves into that creates the problem and makes it hard. We are ignoring.
Very true.
We are ignoring, and sometimes we are blatantly denying
and lying, thinking we'll change
this
it
into
an iPhone.
You can't,
guys. You can't.
That's what we are talking about. That is the depth of it. Like, you just care, at the very least, to get care about what it is. And before you come screaming and saying it's hard. What is it?
Yes.
If you are using a popo to take 5D pictures, you are going to say it's not working.
Listen, a lot of them don't even have cameras. Okay, please. Like, so now, why are you posing, expecting a picture to be
taken? Done, finish.
Woo! What a deep one. What an educational one to start us off in the new year. Sure, a lot of lessons learned, a lot of enlightenment, a lot of revelation. Thank you, Coach Lendi, for lending us your wisdom. I certainly, I have a new view to, and that's how you know that you are learning and that something is valuable, in that things that are part of everyday life, when you start looking at them in a new way, with fresh eyes, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is, so thank you very much. I mean, I definitely believe it's been enlightening to a lot of people, and it will help us. But I think, in a nutshell, on my side, the takeaway is the truth will set you free. First, it will make you mad, but it will set you free. So in order for us to experience the joy and the beauty of relationships, we need to be truthful. We need to tell the truth about our where we are, what we want, and what's been happening. So don't just say relationships are hard. What about them is hard? Dig deep, ask yourself, do that introspection, because once you know that answer, then it will lead you to, so what type of mate am I looking to attract? And the experience of such will be the relationship that is produced from me and this person coming together. So work on yourself. It's a continuous thing. You work on yourself every day. And the better you get, the better quality of partner you will attract, inside and outside of relationship, by the way. This is not only reserved for people that are looking, even for people that are inside, because I think that's the other mistake that gets made when I Coach Londi. People think marriage is the end goal. Once you are married, that's it. No more work required. Kanti, that's the beginning of a whole new level of work. For this thing to stay alive, you need to put work into it. This is why people grow apart. This is why people ultimately end up separating, divorcing, and that type of thing. You need to work continuously on yourself, because when you do that, what you pour into this relationship, contributes to the health of what you have. So don't ever assume, which when we say work on yourself, we're only talking about single people who are looking to be in relationship. Even inside of relationship, you still need to do that, because then your relationship will die. It will die, and I'm speaking as somebody who is divorced. I know, that if you do not work on your relationship, it will die, guys. It will die. I don't care how much you think you love each other. Love is never enough to keep a relationship going. So you owe it to yourself to work on yourself, so that what you pour into the relationship, because now the relationship becomes a tree that you are planting, right? And you water it with what you have inside of you, both of you, so that it can be healthy, you know. So yeah, thank you from my side. Coach Londi, any parting shots before we bid adieu to our listeners and our audience?
Just understanding, understand, and the approach, understand the intent, understand the design, understand the function and the purpose of anything in life. That will save you from abuse, you feeling abused by it, because a lot of people are feeling abused by this thing called relationships. Relationships are abusing us. So you will feel abused when you do not understand the purpose and the intent of something and you are misusing it. So understand that, and it will solve a lot of problems for you. Just very few things that are man-made are things that we have to give purpose to. Those are things that assist us in experiencing convenience, in experiencing the joy, but it is we hardly ever give purpose to things, and we will not give purpose to relationship. Relationship has a purpose that was pre-designed into it. So let's stop trying to give things purpose. Things come with purpose, just like you came with purpose. Relationship comes with purpose.
Yeah, relationship is not my owner, guys.
Sorry, me, I'm deep. That is not deep. This is normal stuff, yes. If you guys just spend as much time alone as I do, yes, you guys. But I am not independent at all. No shame. I'm one of me and independence. Shame. Zero. I am definitely not independent. Ask my children, ask my husband. They will tell you. Shame.
Yeah. No,
thank
and you know what?
Make me absent.
I'm a recovered, and I won't say recovering, but I'm a recovered independent girl, because I was the poster child for that. And yeah, it got to a point where you're just hitting brick wall after brick wall after brick wall. And I was like, this is not how it was meant to go. So there's glory in interdependence. I mean, you and I are doing this interdependently, in collaboration. Individually, probably we would have grown, but not as fast as we have just from doing this together. So there's value in interdependence. And yes, they didn't like for us to fulfill our purpose. We need you watching this, learning from it, for us Nati to fulfill. So do you see how that's just how life was designed? So let's stop fighting against it and swimming upstream, making things difficult for ourselves, because that time could be spent enjoying and enjoying the fruit and reaping the benefits, while you're busy when you're just like. So yeah, I think that's where we're gonna leave it for today. Thank you so much for joining us. Listen, if you do have any questions from what you have seen here and heard, if you want to take us on some of the things we have said, maybe, hey, we touched you on your studio, please reach out to us. Please reach out to us. We're very happy to answer your questions. We're very happy to give clarity where there isn't. So yeah, until next time, thank you so much from myself, Coach Nunu, and from Coach Londi.
Toodles.
See you next time, guys. Thank you for joining us.